Power of one, we are all one people. The power of one, we are love. Sing it with me. The power of one, we are all one people. The power of one, we are love. Just you. Let's hear you. The power of one, we are all one people. The power of one, we are love. One more time. The power of one, we are one people. The power of one, we are love. We are love. We are love. That's just what Neil said. That's just what Amy and the band said. It's just what the reading said. That's what something said to me as I did the meditation this morning. Nice. I love it when it all comes together so perfectly like that. So today, I'm here to talk to you about my personal story of how I came to be a business owner, woman of vision, inspired Calgarian, blah, 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 all the titles. How I came to know some things that I know. And I really believe that you can't know things until you've actually personally experienced them for yourself. So I came to know some things that I'm going to share with you today. I had coffee with Pat a few months ago in the dead of winter, one of those days she loved, 30 below. We're down there having our coffee, looking outside, and she's saying, "Is it always like this?" I said, "Yeah, it's always like this in the winter. It's okay, it goes away." And she said, we've got some time. She said, "I keep hearing all this stuff about the drum and what you're doing with the drumming and the drum circle." And she said, "Can you tell me your story? Like, where did this come from? How did you come to do this? This sort of white, middle-class woman doing drumming in Calgary? Like, how did that happen?" So I told her my story, and when I finished, she said, "You've got to tell them about that. You've got to tell them that story." And she said, "Can you speak at the center one day when I have to go away and you tell them that story?" And I said, "Well, sure, I can do that." So here I am, June 22nd, and Pat's away, and she asked me to speak and tell you my story. So I thought, perfect, I will do that. So for those of you that are here today, thank you for coming to hear me speak and to tell my personal journey with this thing called the Community Drum Circle, which is based on the power of that drum, which is based on the power of one, which is based on the power of love. The drum is simply a tool for love. And so I'm going to tell you that story, then I'm going to tell you 3 other short stories of people who participated in the drum circles over the years that bring out some key learnings that run through every drum circle I do, that run through my life, that runs through your life, that runs through the Center for Spiritual Living's life. Key life rhythms that will help make some sense of why this drum thing just grabbed me and has not let go and still has me by the heart. So that's where I'm headed today, and at the end we're going to do a song together, and there aren't many of you, so you have to really sing out, and we'll have the band come up and join me if they would, and we'll just do a little song at the end together, again about one love. Let's get together and feel all right. So 17 years ago now, almost 18 years ago, I had a big transition going on in my life. I was going through divorce. I had 3 little kids. I was about 40-some years of age, and I had been a stay-at-home mom for about 15 years with those beautiful kids. Before that, I had been in marketing and sales in the big corporate world, and stayed at home with my kids. Did a lot of parent education programs, a lot of community service programs, community education, self-esteem for women workshops, all community service kind of work, working with groups of adults. When I went through the divorce, I knew that I needed to do something that was really true to who I am. I wanted to go back to work with my whole self engaged. It had to do with learning and inspiration and growth and development and spirituality, but I didn't know what that was going to do and how I was going to make a living doing that as a single mom. So I went back to university to get a master's degree. I will start there. Get a degree, focused on something you really love. So I did a master's in adult education focused on workplace learning, and my thesis was Take Your Soul to Work. So take your soul to work, what the heck does that mean? Well, I really wanted to do that, and I had to first figure out what that was and then how to do it, and then how to become it in the world. During that time when I was doing my thesis and writing and studying, I heard about a conference in Mexico, which was called exactly that, Take Your Soul to Work, business conference for leaders who were wanting to study how to do that. I thought, how perfect could that be? So I packed my bag and off I go to this conference. I'm in Mexico, it's February, this is perfect. I'm in Mexico, beautiful resort, hotel, and there's workshops all week, and I think I'm about as full as I can get with ideas and inspiration and meeting people, and I'm doing my interview questions around the pool with the Corona. I mean, it was perfect. I'm thinking, wow, it can't get any better than this. And then I have an experience of a drum circle. There was this fellow who kept coming throughout the week saying, don't forget about the drum circle on Wednesday night, hump day drumming, come and drum, you're gonna be blown away, you're gonna love this. And I thought, oh, I can't miss that. I didn't miss a thing, every possible thing I did at that conference. Well, I went to that drum circle, and it did blow me away. So picture this. You're walking down the stairways into this open air lobby where there's this beautiful pool with these ancient masks all along the walls, and the ocean's right there, and there's this beautiful pool deck with this circle of drums from all over the world, all sizes and shapes and colors. There's a steady heartbeat happening, and there's the sun going down and the moon coming up, and this V of light coming down right to the center of the circle. And I stood there and went, and it was like there was a magnet that dropped down and grabbed me at the heart and pulled me into that circle and then released and dropped me down. It was like that. I can't describe it any other way, but it felt like I just fell into it. And once I got in that circle, I disappeared. The me that we all think of as our ego or our personality just dissolved. And for 2 hours, I was at one with that experience. I don't remember a thing of what happened during those 2 hours. But I know what happened is that I was at one. It was one of those experiences where you just can't quite describe it, but you know how real it is. And when you experience it, you know there is a thing called one. There is a place called unity. And there is a place called peace and pure joy. And I was there for 2 hours. And when that drum circle was over, it was like that magnet said, okay, pulled me out and dropped me on the outside of the circle, and there I was now, and there was the circle, and there was I again, fully engaged with my personality and all my fears and doubts, and gotta make a living, single mom, and that was saying, it's okay, you're good, we got you. And off I went, tears streaming down my face, knowing without any doubt that this is what I needed to do with my work, with my world service, and with my life. This was my tool for healing myself, others, and our world. I had no idea how I was going to do that, how that was all going to work. It sounded crazy to me, but I had a knowing. Have you ever had a knowing like that didn't make any sense up here, but it made lots of sense here? And somehow you had to put those two together. They say that's the longest 12 inches in the world. It's about 12. To try to make that connection. And how many of you made it? Like you stayed with that heart knowing and you went for it, even though it was scary, even though it felt like, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going to give it a go. Well, I went home and I said to my parents, who are loving and supportive, and all my friends, a couple of which are with me here today, I said, okay, guess what I'm going to do with my degree? As a single white woman in corporate Calgary, I'm going to drum. I'm going to do drum circles and lift their spirits and connect them, and this world will become one, and downtown Calgary will feel a whole lot different. And maybe we'll broaden our horizons as to how we think about money and profit and all. I had this vision of imagine if the world could be like that. And that vision I took with me, and when I told people, they went, Judy, we'll see what we can do to help you with that. Go for it. But they were really skeptical. A month later, I went and did the training that gave me the skills to facilitate a community drum circle. Because I had no idea. I'd never drummed before. I'd never touched a drum. I'm not a musician. I don't have any musical background. So I go to One World Drum Company. A lot of you maybe know that company in town. They do drum lessons, sell drums. I did my one session, 4 sessions of drum lessons, bought a drum, and with that drum in my arm, I got on the plane and I went to do my training. So I get to this training. It's in Hawaii. It's now March. Nice. Okay, this is good. This is even better. And I get to this training and I end up in the first circle of people. I see everyone gathering and I'm thinking, what if I'm in the right place? And the first meeting, that first night, it turns out that out of the 30 people that showed up from all over the world, about 3/4 and 9/10 of them were professional musicians, taught music at UCLA, had produced many CDs, were in bands, they'd been drummers their whole life, and I had one 4-week drum lesson and one drum under my belt. I had no drumming experience other than that. And as that week progressed, I thought, Judy, you're an imposter here. You're pretending to be a drummer and you're not. And really, maybe you should just go home. As this little voice talking to me on both shoulders. And I thought, no, that's okay. You're here because there's a bigger purpose to this than drumming. No, you need to be a drummer to do this. You're crazy. You need to be a drummer to do this. I had this argument going on. Well, there was this beautiful, beautiful Nigerian man named Babatunde Olatunji there. And he was like a quiet Martin Luther King in the drumming world. He was a powerful teacher. When he walked in the room, he was about 7 feet tall and had this regal outfit on. He always had the full African garb. And he brought the whole concept of community drumming, multicultural, unity consciousness drumming to North America. And he was there. We were blessed with him being at that training program, along with Arthur Hall, his protege. And Baba saw me struggling. Like, I'm trying to learn the basic drum strokes, and these guys have been drumming for years. And at one point he came over to me and he said, Judy, don't let those black guys give you no guff. He said, he held up his hands and they were like this long and they were pink, these pink palms, and he said, we all have healing hands. And when your hands touch the drum, you heal the world. And one day, the world will be a better place for the healing of your hands on the drum, so don't let those black guys give you no guff. Yeah. Have you ever felt like an imposter? Have you been somewhere and you feel like you don't quite fit in here? Oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And yeah, if you see a few hands shaking. And yet, did you stay? Did you stay with it? Did you stay with the heart knowing and not run away or back away or get really small so you can't be heard? You continue to step in and continue to step in. Well, another point during that training, Arthur Hall, the fellow who was facilitating the week, he leaned forward in the circle. We're always meeting in circle, and the wind is blowing in the palm trees and the waves are crashing. It's quite noisy. Speaking of wind, Neil, can you turn that fan off? And he leaned into the circle. This is about halfway through the week. He leaned and he said, now everyone, listen up. This is really important. So if you get nothing else this whole week, get this. And I thought, ooh, I better listen up to this, so I'm leaning in to hear what it is he has to say. And everyone else is going, oh, cool, let's listen. And he almost brought his voice down to a whisper. And he said, this really isn't about the drum. He looked around, and I went, automatically, without even thinking, I went, yes, I knew it! And then I looked around, oh, sorry guys. I mean, I know, it is also about the drum. It's about drumming and all that, but I knew it. And when the leader of the group and the originator from Africa came, and they said, it's not about the drum. He didn't say anything more, he just said that. And that's all I needed to hear. And I thought, okay, I'm going to be all right. And that afternoon, they always broke us up into little groups, and you had to facilitate your little group, and then other people would take turns facilitating, practicing these skills. And it was my turn to get up, and I was with a really big kahuna group that day. Really great drummers. Sorry, Louise. I love drummers. And I got up, and it was my turn, and they had all facilitated these remarkable, complex, really beautiful rhythms. They passed out shakers and tambourines and drums, and we were all just rocking. And then I got up, and I did my thing. And at that point, Arthur Hall, the teacher of all this, came over and he was observing. He observed the different groups. He happened to be observing when I was facilitating. And I thought, oh man, just keep going, Judy, just keep going. And when I stood up and did my thing and then sat down, he said, Judy, come here. I thought, so I go follow him over, thinking, oh, okay, now I've really done it. And he said, I just want you to know that you really get it. It's not about the drum. These guys don't get it yet, but they will. You just keep teaching them. So I thought, oh, it isn't about drumming. It isn't about getting to be a really good drummer and knowing complex rhythms and being able to perform in front of people. That's another whole huge set of gifts. And it's a huge skill set that some people have, like Louise, Oliver. I don't have those. I have different skills, and I have a different purpose for taking that tool into the world. And I was starting to see that maybe I actually did get this. Well, at the end of that week, we all got on the bus and went back to Honolulu, where we were all going to fly home from, but there was a big community drum circle event at the end of that week. And it was in a big park right in downtown Honolulu, and there was an inter-island invitation sent out to everybody all over Hawaii. And they were going to have like 200 or 300 people come to this drum circle. And there were like 30 of us in this training program, and there were 5 people chosen to facilitate that closing event, and guess who was one of them? Little Judy from Calgary with her one-world drum. And I thought, what? You want me to facilitate like 300 people in an inter-island community drum circle? Well, my hotel room that night, in advance of that, was, I just envisioned, I stood in the middle of the room and envisioned the circle around me and was practicing all my skills. Cut, you, keep going, you, stop, and you, over there, let's hear you a little bit louder, softer. And I'm practicing all the skills. And finally the day came to go and do this drum circle, and I'm at the park early, and I'm just getting used to the space, and I see people starting to come from across the park carrying their various paraphernalia for this drum circle, and there's this one big kahuna guy with a big djembe over his shoulder, dressed in full warrior African garb, big dreadlocks. He even had a spear sticking out of his backpack, and this great big shield like this, and he's walking along, coming to this drum circle, man, and he was like scary. And I thought, oh, I wonder what this guy's all about. He's in the circle, And so he came in and he put his stuff down, he kind of looked around, and he looked over at me, and he dug in his bag and he came walking over to me like this with something in his hand. And he looked at me and he said, I knew this was going to be for somebody. It's for you, sister. I said, what is it? It was a little vial with this brown liquid in it, and I thought, oh my God, he's going to give me some drugs or something. I'm supposed to drink this or what? he said, it's frankincense. Frankincense is an essence straight from the cosmic Christ energy. He said, it's pure love, sister, and that's what you're about. I want you to have this, put it on your hands, put it on your drum, put it on your body. It's who and what you are. It's yours for me to you. I knew it was for somebody, I just didn't know who. Thank you for leading us today. He went back and readjusted his shield, laid his spear down, and proceeded to pick up his drum. That was a beautiful moment, which I don't know if I've really shared that story with anybody before. But in preparation for this talk, I remembered that really clearly and thought, wow, don't judge a book by its cover. We are one. And he was all about love, and so am I. And we just present it in different ways. So how do you present love in your life? How do you present that knowing that you are one? What's your unique style, gift, expression? How you dress, how you speak, what you do for a living, how you interact with your friends, and the cashier at Safeway, or Co-op, or Superstore, is love. You are it in every moment. And so it's really easy to judge and say, oh, whoa, that's pretty scary. I had the most beautiful conversation with a street person in the parking lot at the bottom of the hill here one day, before church. I never got to church. I had it over there. We just got talking in the sunshine. We're embracing and crying and laughing. And he walks off and says, have a great day. And I said, I will. So, again, he came walking over saying, you got some money? I'm not going to use it for drugs. I just need some food. I thought, oh, that's nice. He seemed really clear-eyed and ready to converse. And so I did, and it was amazing. So, that big kahuna guy with the shield was a real lesson to me. And it continues. So I want to tell you 3 quick stories. That's my story of how I came to do the drumming. And when I came back after that training to Calgary, I incorporated my business, bought my first set of drums, booked the community hall down the street, and invited everyone I knew to come and drum with me. I said, come and drum. They said, what? Come do a community drum. Just trust me. So they came, and they started doing it, and I'd say, by the way, I want to do this in the workplace. And team building, stress relief, workplace wellness, leadership, leading with soul. I would love it if you'd invite me to come. And do you do any of that kind of stuff in your workplace? And people would say, well, we do a little bit of, I don't know about this there, but look, well, a few people that were pretty open-minded invited me. And so I'd go to the workplace, and I'd do those programs, and then I'd say, by the way, I do a community drum circle. If any of you have enjoyed this and you want